Anime Week in Atlanta is one of my favorite cons, and I get asked a lot about what cons I recommend, and I always recommend Anime Week in Atlanta for someone who's never been to a big con but really wants to experience it or wants to experience an Atlanta con. So I'm going to talk about some survival tips to your first AWA and what to expect. Now, just a disclaimer, I am by no means a veteran of AWA. This one coming up will only be my third time going to AWA. So feel free to do your own research from other people who have done this a few more times than me. But I think from what I'll tell you, you get the basic gist of what to expect. So let's get started. AWA is located at the Cobb Galleria in Atlanta, which is part of a Marriott hotel. So it's like the hotel which is connected to the Cobb Galleria. So it is two buildings, but it's technically the same thing. It's connected. So if you're staying in the host hotel, you could very possibly, if you play your cards right, not have to leave that location at all, which is very nice. That's always a plus for me, not having to leave that area, especially if I'm in a parking space and I don't want to leave that parking space. I'll talk about parking a little later. It is not downtown Atlanta. For those of you who might be put off by staying in downtown Atlanta, it's not quite as, stuck in the middle of all of the businesses and normal people going about their lives. It's definitely more of a suburban area, but it's still Atlanta, so you're not in the middle of nowhere. But also, keep in mind that even though this is more of a suburban part of Atlanta, it is still, the city, so please be careful, if you're going to be walking around at night, just be safe, keep your car locked and all that good stuff. The hotel is a Marriott, and I personally am not a huge fan of Marriotts, but as far as Marriotts go, it's a pretty nice hotel. It's very roomy and well taken care of. The lobby is beautiful. If you're in a standard room, which you probably are, because that's what they have at the con room, right? If you're in a standard room, don't expect fridge or a microwave, and don't expect free internet either. I'm trying to remember if there was, but it's been a couple years since the last time I stayed at the host hotel. But just keep that kind of stuff in mind. And the lobby itself, as far as internet in general, on your phone, 4G, complete dead space. I can't remember getting any decent service in the hotel lobby and in that general area, so just be prepared for that. And the Cobb Galleria itself has a mini mall on the inside of it. I don't know if you really want to do all that much shopping, but I think what's really interesting about the Cobb Galleria's mini mall is that there's a food court right there. So you got food options there in the Cobb Galleria that aren't, Starbucks, which is also in the Marriott. So it's going to be crowded pretty much all the time, just so you know. This is a big con, and that food court is not very big. It's options, but it's not very big. So just be in mind with that, and I'll talk more about food later as well. Moving on to parking. So if you're staying in the host hotel, or it really doesn't matter which hotel you're staying in, there is parking with the Marriott, right there in the Marriott Center, and there's no charge for it. However, it's very limited. If you manage to get a spot in the Marriott parking, street parking, don't leave, just stay there. But if you're going to be staying outside, outside of the host hotel, then you might not have a choice. So you probably won't be able to find any parking in the Marriott once it's completely done. So that leaves you with the Cobb Galleria parking, and there's usually, I do not remember paying for it, but it fills up pretty quickly. And if that fills up, there's also some other parking places. You have options. Like there's some businesses there that aren't open during the weekend, so the parking garage will just be open. I would keep an eye on the Facebook group. They were talking about this on the Facebook group if you're not a part of it. I think they change like each year, you know, they update us what kind of options we have for parking. But I don't think you'll need to set aside a budget per se for parking. I don't think you'll need to pay for parking, but it can be a little tricky. So just if it were me, just get there as early as you can and just stay put, because once you lose your parking spot, it's really tough to reclaim. As far as like AWA attendees, like the people in the hallways, thankfully this Marriott and all the panel rooms, everything's very spacious, so you won't have a whole lot of like feelings where, I don't know if you guys were in, if you ever been to Dragon Con or MomoCon in 2014, were in that particular Marriott, and there's this one bridge that's just extremely narrow, and I think max 2 people could fit side by side. There's not anything like that there, but it can get pretty crowded on Saturday, like during peak times. So like there won't be too many sardine movements, but you know, you are sharing this space with a whole lot of people, so just keep that in mind. The crowds in general they're not too bad, because like I said, there's a lot of people, but there's also a lot of room, and people like to, you know, hang out outside. There's a lot of room for people to, you know, spread out, so I wouldn't worry too much about any like claustrophobia things. I covered it a little bit about how there's a little mini food court in the Cobb Galleria's mini mall, and there's also a Starbucks, and there's a bar in the Marriott itself. And there's also, I think, which is really cool, they have food trucks, and they set up these food trucks inside the dealer's area during dealer's area hours, of course. Now, of course, that means you need a badge, but I would hope that you would buy a badge to AWA in particular, because like you're not going to be able to do a whole lot of ghosting at this con because of how they station their people. But they have food trucks in the dealer's area, and after that area closes, the food trucks move outside, so you can still get your grandma, but pretty late. They're out there pretty late. So you have those options, and then you have that, and then there's a few options for you, like they have the Cumberland Mall nearby, and there's a few more food options like nearby. This is pretty good as far as like places to go that is not like directly in the con area if you want to like branch out, you know. So yeah, and now that I've mentioned the dealer's hall, let's go back to that. The dealer and the artist alley, they are some of the best dealers, maybe the best dealer's hall I've ever been in. AWA has something for everyone. So I think especially if you are like me and you're into Lolita fashion, you're going to find a whole lot. And I was able to start my first Lolita quarter from things that I picked up in AWA's dealer room. So they always have like a Lolita guest. 2016's guest is Metamorphose, so they should have a booth set up in the dealer's hall, and there's all sorts of indie things there. So yeah, Lolitas rejoice, and there's so much, like, you could very easily spend more money than you think in that dealer's hall. So bring extra money if you can. And the artist alley is of course top notch. Like, I'd be very surprised if you didn't find anything you didn't like in the artist alley as well. So no disappointments there. Just if you're on a budget, just be careful. The last thing I'll talk about are the events they have. The great thing about AWA is that when I say there's something for everyone, I mean that like their programming is so diverse, and their guests and everything is just amazing. So there's just no reason for anyone to be bored. And like, even if you're not there for like con things, like the people that are there, like the just regular attendees like you and me, there's just so much diversity. So there will be concerts going on. Last year they brought Air Ali, who did the theme songs for Kill La Kill, and she did a concert, and that was incredible. I don't know who the musical guests are this time around, but I'm sure that it'll be an amazing concert just like it was last year. And if you're into like English voice actors, they got those. I think they have some Japanese guests as well, and I already mentioned the Lolita guests, so lots of things that you guys can look forward to. And the panel like schedule, as of me making this video, the schedule has not dropped yet, but the schedule is always really great as far as like diverse. And that's what I look for in like in a schedule, like not the same thing over. You don't want like a whole bunch of monotony. So look forward to that. And there's always like their you know, go-to events. Like they always have like karaoke, and I think they might be doing AMV Hell, things like that will always be on a part of the schedule. So and of course the cosplay contest, which is very huge. But a note about the cosplay contest for those of you who like to either participate or watch, Anime Weekend Atlanta does not have a skit portion, so it's craftsmanship only. So just for anyone who might be deterred because of something like that, just so you know, or maybe you'll be inspired to enter because of something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say about AWA. Here's hoping that I see you there, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave any comments or anything like that. And if you're still making costumes like I am, good luck so hard, and I will see you there. Bye!